Exciting news, Dolphins fans. We got a great new hire, and honestly,
stop with the fucking we shit.
Ben's, been rallying on Twitter, pushing the agenda, getting his 2-Anon card membership, exposed on Twitter. Mike McDaniel is the new signing for their Dolphins head coach. He is going to be joining the Miami Dolphins, I think just for a third-round pick too, or 2/3, right?
Well, it's compensatory, so it's not coming from Miami's wallet.
It's just okay.
It's a compensatory pick, so Miami's losing nothing to get arguably their best hire, the best hire they could have gotten out.
Is this the Rooney Rule? Like they get compensated because he's technically a minority?
Right. Yeah. Since he is biracial, I believe through the Rooney Rule, he does get the San Francisco 49ers do get compensated for losing him. But I just want to address something. Brandon, you came in with no energy about this. This is the moment we're all waiting for. I was in the airport waiting for my flight, crying because this fucking thing came in. Okay, Brandon? Like this was.
I'm happy to make Dolphins content because you guys killed the first video that we did on the Dolphins. Right now, it's sitting at a whopping 381 views and 8 likes. So Dolphins fans obviously seem to like it. So I'm willing to pander to the crowd. I'm willing to pander to the audience and give them what the audience want. And two, I don't know, there really isn't much going on in the NFL besides head coaching drama and also a potential massive lawsuit that the NFL is facing. So I'd rather not talk about negatives. I'd rather talk about positives. I just lowered my chair on accident. And so far, the only positives have really come out of, besides the whole Brian Flores thing, which is obviously,
huge negative.
It's a huge negative, and if there is justice for Brian Flores, hopefully it is served correctly and not just swept under the rug or something. But yeah, this is a great hire for Miami. He is an offensive-minded guy that everyone in San Francisco is literally upset that he's gone. The offensive line schemes and in the running game schemes, he literally built up that running game to where it became a Super Bowl contending team because of that run game. Because the 49ers became a Super Bowl contender because of the run game. And he had that 10-hour meeting in, where was it, Boca with them?
Wherever it was a long-ass meeting.
To talk about how we can help Tua, which, look, we saw a lot of RPOs, but maybe we'll see a lot more downhill throwing, play action passes, bootlegs, and that kind of stuff.
I'll say this about Mike McDaniel. He's literally a part of Mensa. And if you don't know what Mensa is, it's a very small group of high IQ people who have come from prestigious colleges. And a lot of people have conspiracy theories that they actually rule the world. If they rule the world, then Miami's winning 8 Super Bowls. Who? But what I will say about this is he knows this game inside and out. A hire like Brian Daboll would have been safe, would have been incredibly safe, and would have been a pick that, he's playing a more modern, he's playing a more modern style of football. Yeah, whatever. He's playing a football of now. Mike McDaniel is the spearhead. He's the guy that is pushing the new revolution. He's always on the cutting edge of what's happening. He's always the one making the cutting edge. And that is what's the most exciting about this. This hire is the most boomer bust that they can do. Yes. Are there going to be complaints about, he didn't make the calls? Sure, whatever. But I don't want my head coach making calls. I don't, I want my
the fact that he's already looking at Vic Fangio as his defensive coordinator.
Exactly. And I think he comes from that McVay Shanahan tree where that was the strategy. You get a younger head coach in and you get an old guy next to him. And Vic Fangio is going to have so much fun with this Dolphins defense.
He's coming from the Washington Commanders. All right, that's that tree.
Horrible name. But look, I get why people are skeptical or upset, but if you think about it this way, we've been through how many seasons of disappointment? And Brian Flores, as much as I do agree with what he says, and I probably do believe what he is saying, knowing how horrible the NFL is, he couldn't build an offensive staff to save his life. He couldn't. that is something that was that was fireable in itself, no matter what the allegations towards Stephen Ross are, which, if again, 100K per loss is again reprimandable and awful, and how apparently he treated
for this.
Adam Gase is so surprised he didn't get that same deal. But realistically, this is the hire that you need. You go in and I think they're going to have to go all out for Vic Fangio, and maybe Mike Munchak or someone else for the offensive line. This team is in a good spot. This is not a rebuilding team. This team is not in a rebuild.
No, because you have a top 5, top 10 defense. Right. You have an offense that, look, while it did sputter this season, especially under Brissett, it did show flashes of, you could see the Tua-Waddle connection being something that we see with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase.
Exactly.
And I mean, Jamar Chase also has the luxury of playing with T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and having the offense having to deal with that as well. And Uzomah, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Uzomah. Yeah,
and look, they have a competent running game as well. That's the thing. You look at all of these situations and you're like, okay, that's them. That's them. The Miami Dolphins have to worry about themselves. And this is something that I have to say about the fans. I don't give a shit what Justin Herbert or Mac Jones, who is god-awful and can't hit a fucking barn door and gritty on Black History Month, which is the most racist thing I think I've ever seen.
That's got to be racist. There's no way.
Genuinely, I don't give a shit what they do. I don't. I give a shit about what Miami does and what the Miami Dolphins do. This Miami Dolphins team was $70 million in cap, and now they finally have a genius that can come in and actually cut players that are shit. He can come in and make these moves. This is what we needed. This isn't this. There are questions, but this isn't a rebuild. We go in and we get a guy like Terron Armstead or Laken Tomlinson.
I say it's more of a retooling because
exactly
you have a competent quarterback, at least a starting quarterback. It's yet to be determined whether he's a franchise level player or competent enough for the next guy to come in. I think that's a fair assessment of Tua, in my opinion, that he is competent enough to lead an offense. But are we talking about like a Nick Foles level type of competent?
No, really loved everything about his package. It was huge.
Or are we talking about a Josh Allen type of competent?
Look, I'd say this. I'd take him over Jimmy G.
There's some quarterbacks right now that are starting or up for trade that I would have Tua over because there's potential for them, and we've already seen like a guy like Jimmy G kind of like, especially with the ankle injuries.
Exactly.
That's fair, but at this point, like, is he just a competent quarterback? Like, is he just a stepping stone? Like, I think that is to be determined with Tua. Sure. And I think if you get an offensive, I think the only thing that has stopped Tua is the fact that he hasn't had an offensive-minded coach or a coach that did believe in him throughout this whole time. Now he has a coach that literally spent 10 hours talking to Stephen Ross and Chris Greer about why he could unlock Tua. Why he can unlock Tua. And the fact that he also has the fact that the Dolphins also have all this money in cap space as well, and there's also some premium offensive line, especially on Tua's blind side, that are up for grabs. Look, no matter how much you want to stretch that cap is going to be used. It has to be utilized for the offensive line. And now that you have someone that we saw with the 49ers, how he likes to adjust the offensive line during plays, like, it could be something interesting that we see happen with the same thing, and interesting to see with the Miami Dolphins. I will say this: there are more holes on the Dolphins offense, and there are more things that need to be addressed. Like you mentioned, like, cutting players. Obviously I follow you on Twitter, and like everything on my timeline has been like you liking Dolphins Twitter. So like obviously like Jesse Davis, like pretty much Dolphins Twitter is like calling for like his beheading at this point.
Get the hell out! Get out! Get out!
You don't speak of that name. Don't speak of that name.
And just stick him in a guillotine and just go, yeah. All right, that's like literally what Dolphins Twitter wants to do with him. But I will say there is more competence in San Francisco's offense while he was there, like especially with the weapons around the quarterback. and what the offensive line structure was compared to what the Dolphins now. Like the Dolphins need I think, don't touch the defense, but seriously restructure this offense. Because I think the only two people safe on that offense is, I mean, there's only maybe a couple on the offensive line. I would say on the offensive line, Robert Hunt. Yep.
Pass is caught by one of the linemen. And
I would say Eichenberg.
Yeah, second. I get why second year. Yeah, I get that.
I trust him on the offensive line, and everything else has to be filled.
Yeah, I get that. Look, the great thing
the
about
offensive weapons, it's really just Waddle and Gesicki that you have compared to what Garoppolo has around him, which is or if you bring back Duke Johnson as well, but that's also, I think Miami should at least, if they're going to bring in competition as well, maybe a rookie running back or something like that. But if you also bring in a Calvin Ridley, as well as possibly, I think possibly bringing back Devontae Parker. I don't know if he's up for free agency at this point.
No, he's under contract, but there's a lot of discussion. Is his contract worth it?
Right. Preston Williams. Like, I know he had a down year.
I hate to laugh, bro. The dude's more injured than Will Fuller. At least Will Fuller saw the field.
He's a big target. And that could be utilized for Tua.
Look, I'll say this. The Miami Dolphins,
more holes
especially
compared to what San Francisco had.
The one thing that I'll say is this: like with Mike McDaniel, name me a running back that made it to the Pro Bowl with Mike McDaniel.
I think Tevin Coleman.
Exactly. Was a Devin Coleman?
No. What was the other one? I had him in fantasy this year, and then he got hurt. Raheem Mostert.
Yeah, exactly. We're saying Tevin Coleman and Raheem Mostert were the two best running backs he's had. That's how good his running.
Deebo Samuel, all right, Deebo Samuel,
and wide back, as he likes to call it. That's how good he is running his running game. It is the system. It is the scheme. This Miami team, and especially with how the draft has laid out, they're in offensive weapon territory with their first round pick, whether it be running back or wide receiver. Don't
get me wrong. This is going to be like in the previous video we made, which you guys should go check it out. And like I mentioned earlier, this is going to be very interesting for Miami. My issue is he's going into an offense that has a lot more question marks than what San Francisco had when he was going into it, or when he first took over that job.
That's totally fine, but his job is to fix the question marks.
Huh?
That's totally fine, but that's his job. His job isn't to fix the defense. His job isn't to make calls for the defensive special teams.
But there was nothing on the even with the 49ers, there was nothing on the defensive end, maybe corners, and they would fix that with signing Richard Sherman.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
The last two good,
but his job is to go in and figure out how to fix that offense. And the fact that he took the job, and the fact that he spoke for 10 hours how he's going to fix it, and the fact that, look, he's going to have Taron Armstead, he's going to have available, he's going to have Laken Tomlinson, someone who he knows from San Francisco available. That's it. And he has a lot of other guys. Orlando Brown, I think he's getting signed to the Chiefs. He's getting an extension. He has all those other guys. Plus, he does have raw talent on that offensive line. I mean, look, as much as we want to say about Austin Jackson or Robert Hunt or Solomon Kinley or Liam Eichenberg, those guys are young. They need to get older. They need to get older guys, but those guys are young, and he out of everyone knows how to fix an offensive line.
No, and look, I'm not saying that. Look, all I'm saying is that I just wouldn't expect, if you're a Dolphins fan right now, and I'm not trying to play down, I'm not trying to make a positive turn to a negative, I would just say your needs right now were more than what San Francisco had when Kyle Shanahan took over. Yeah, because there was stuff in place already when Shanahan took over. Whether it was good or not, you could see the bones. Miami, you could see the bones as well. For San Francisco, just sped it up real quick by getting Jimmy G, trading for Trent Williams, drafting well with Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, getting a good, signing the running back game. They had, it was, Kittle, Juszczyk, all those guys. It was there. They drafted well. Now it's just going to be interesting to see what he does in this draft and in this offseason, which I think starts in about a month or so. But look, we've gone long enough. Let us know in the comment section down below. whether or not you guys are excited, as Dolphins fans are excited for Mike McDaniel's, for his new job with the Miami Dolphins as head coach. Definitely exciting time in Miami. Spoelstra's named Team Kevin Durant coach, which sucks for every person on Team Kevin Durant because, yes, I'm quoting Twitter, but he's going to make them do charges, take charges, and probably with the body foul count too. Also, and now Mike McDaniels is the Dolphins' new head coach. Also, if you guys want to see what Ben and I think of what the Dolphins are going to do in the offseason, go ahead and check that video out. I'll leave a link in the description down below, as well as Ben's channel, where he's also gone more in depth into what the Dolphins are going to do moving forward as well. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Also, stick around if you guys are a fan of gaming, because I'm going to be producing a lot of gaming content and the NBA trade deadline, because it is this week. It is going to be this Thursday, and there's a lot of stuff going down that honestly I'm excited for. Might have to do some special type of video or something for that. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys might want to see. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Take it easy. Have a good one, and peace.